Hello and welcome to Rauta's book reviews. This time it's time to talk about a book, not a CD or vinyl. Those of you who know that I recently did my version of Worst to Best with Typo Negative probably already know that I was reading this book when I was listening to Typo Negative discography. That actually sparked my interest towards this book because, well, let's be honest about it. Typo Negative is a fucking interesting band. Even if the music doesn't resonate, well, overall, so well with me. However, some of their songs are just fantastic. Others, well, not so much. I can't really say I'm, as a whole, a Typo Negative fan, but I'm a fan of some of their music and I'm especially fan of the given artists. Now, this book is about Peter Steele, more about its Typo Negative. But of course, because Peter Steele was effectively the mastermind, the core of the whole band, and without him there would be no Typo Negative. Actually, the band disbanded after Peter Steele unfortunately died. Now, this book is as much Typo Negative biography as much as it is Peter Steele biography. Written by Jeff Wagner, a friend and a journalist, a friend of Peter Steele, not me personally. He has written this book of almost 400 pages, roughly 350 plus, and it's really good. Now, I wouldn't say it's super great 10 out of 10. Maybe for the fans it is exactly that. But for me, as a non-fan, just someone who is interested in the band and the music and the creation and the personality behind the band, this is definitely a worthy read, even if you're not that much interested in Typo Negative music. First of all, it gives you tons and tons of anecdotes about the personality, about the band, about what was going on behind the scenes and so forth. This is superiorly done, especially if you give that it's not based on direct conversation, discussions with Peter Steele, because after all, he was, unfortunately already dead by the time this book got into making. But there are lots of interviews, lots of comments from various people who made this book possible. So it's not just based on some random notes here and there, but more about like people sharing their personal experience with Mr. Steele. Of course, his other name is Polish and beyond pronunciation for us. But the thing here is, this shares a really, really interesting story way before Typo Negative started. So one could say it's also partially Carnivore and other projects' biography where Peter Steele was in deep invested. There's a lot of interesting points about how he changed from this and that phase or era in his life to what he was before he died. How he found religion, how he was actually very anti-religion in the younger years, how he was provoking, or nowadays people would say trolling, a lot of people with his opinions and songs, lyrics and so forth, with Carnivore especially. But one could say this is roughly 1/3 of a Carnivore thing and 2/3 of a Typo Negative thing. That is, if you really just decide to focus on the bands in question and just exclude Peter Steele. I don't know why you would do that, but as we're talking about bands, you could see this one as a triple biography in the sense that it totally covers not only himself as the man of the bands, but also his private life, his relationship, dealing with fans, dealing with drugs, alcohol, all kind of substance abuse basically, later years, and of course how his health changed throughout the years, how he had mental problems, depression, stuff like that, but also how he made that wonderful music we got to know through Typo Negative. What kind of passion he had for instruments, be it, bass or keyboards or whatever, drums, and how he was experimenting and writing songs, what kind of lyrics he was doing, and how he kind of expressed his feelings and experiences through those lyrics, how nice of a person he was, and how everybody basically looked up to him in so many ways. But also a lot of people recognize his problems, especially with drugs later years. Now, I still have a couple of words about criticism or critique towards this book because, like I said, this is no 10 out of 10. The major problem, well, I can't really call it a major problem, let's just say it's a minor flaw, but it's ever present throughout the book, is that it's basically one of those books that is, coming from a fan, kind of someone who kind of worships him. I mean, I get it. Based on this book, he was a great personality, really, really friendly guy, always helping and, whatever. But the thing here is, it seems like there are not too many words to just kind of criticize or even question what he was doing. Surely some parts, kind of point lightly to that direction. But much like was said about Ozzy Osbourne biography, like it being whitewashed, like as if those nasty things were just kind of hidden and not exposed so much. Maybe this is not doing that as much, but it's kind of clear that this is written from a fan point of view, like, wow, without Peter Steele there wouldn't this and that. Yeah, it's given, but I mean, like, still you can say things about a person who is dead, like, yeah, he had faults. I mean, nobody here is perfect. Peter Steele was quite contrary. I mean, even if he was a really, really nice person and gifted and talented with music and art in general, we all have these tendencies to be a-holes every now and then. Maybe not in big amounts, and maybe there is no room for that kind of stuff when we're talking. I mean, it's not about like a biography should be about slandering someone, but some words here are like too much emphasizing the fact, oh, he was a good, godlike creature. Oh my God, I cannot live without Peter Steele and his music. And they're like, well, yes, good. I mean, like, but overall, like I say, it's a minor flaw. I don't want to get stuck with that too much. So how this could be better, it could be a little bit more filled with critique. And of course, it could have, those words straight from Peter himself, but that was kind of impossible. So given the task at hand, this is a very good biography, and I totally recommend reading, especially if you have ever encountered some good part of Type O Negative in your life. Even if you like just a couple of songs, this is worth a read. Even if you don't like their music, but you're interested how genius mind in art works, this is definitely something worth checking out. It's an interesting and fun to read. There's a good flow of things. There are not too many photos. Some anecdotes like this here and there. Mind you, this is a Finnish copy because I loaned it from a local library, so I didn't buy this. But maybe you should if you're a fan. But there are some cool old photos which is there to give you a little bit of idea what's going on. But mostly throughout this roughly 350 pages, it's text and it's nicely flowing stuff. There are no major mistakes, and at least the Finnish translation is well done. So I guess to sum it up, read it if you're into reading band and artist biographies in the first place. If I had to rate it with a number, score, that is, 8 out of 10 would be sufficient. It's good. It's almost like really, really good, but it's far from being perfect. So let's call it great minus, if that makes sense. Anyway, this is my opinion about the book. Have you read it? How do you like it? How do you like Type O Negative? And if you have ever never check out the band before, now it's good time to go for the book and go for the music. It's an interesting story. This is Rauta. Take care and see you soon. Bye bye.